Ever felt like traditional banking just wasn't built for you? Like you're constantly jumping through hoops, dealing with hidden fees, or navigating outdated technology? You're not alone. The world of finance is changing rapidly, and new digital banks are popping up, promising a better experience. But with so many options, it begs the question, who are these new banks actually for? Today, we're diving deep into B9 Bank to answer just that. Who can actually use it? Before we get into the specifics of B9, let's zoom out for a second. Traditional banks have historically catered to a specific demographic, people with established credit histories, steady incomes, and often a certain level of financial literacy. This has left many people underserved, including freelancers, gig workers, immigrants, and those with less than perfect credit. These groups often face challenges like difficulty opening accounts, high fees for basic services, and limited access to credit. This is where digital banks, like B9, come into play. They often aim to be more inclusive and accessible, leveraging technology to offer streamlined services and lower costs. But does that mean everyone can use them? Not necessarily. Each bank has its own eligibility criteria and target audience. So, let's get into the specifics of B9. B9 Bank focuses primarily on serving the underbanked and those who are new to the U.S. banking system, particularly immigrants. This is a significant portion of the population that has often been overlooked by traditional financial institutions. Let's break down some key groups who are a good fit for B9. First, we have immigrants and newcomers to the United States. Establishing a financial foothold in a new country can be incredibly challenging. Opening a bank account is often the first step, but many traditional banks require documentation that new arrivals may not possess, such as a social security number or a lengthy U.S. credit history. B9 aims to simplify this process, often accepting alternative forms of identification and focusing on building a relationship with the customer rather than solely relying on past credit scores. This makes B9 a valuable tool for those navigating the complexities of settling into a new life in the U.S. Next, we have individuals with limited or no credit history. Building credit from scratch can be a long and arduous process. Many traditional financial products, like credit cards and loans, are inaccessible without a solid credit score. B9 offers tools and features designed to help users establish and build their credit, opening up future financial opportunities. This can include secured credit cards, credit-building loans, and educational resources on responsible credit management. Another group that B9 caters to is the gig economy and freelance workers. These individuals often have fluctuating incomes and may not have the consistent pay stubs that traditional banks often require. B9's focus on accessibility and simplified account opening can be particularly beneficial for this demographic. They offer features that help manage irregular income and provide tools for budgeting and financial planning. Now, let's talk about some specific requirements and eligibility criteria. While B9 aims to be inclusive, there are still some basic requirements. Generally, users will need to be at least 18 years old and have a valid form of identification. While a social security number is often preferred, B9 may accept alternative forms of identification, particularly for immigrants. It's crucial to check the most up-to-date requirements on B9's official website, as these can change. It's also important to understand what B9 isn't designed for. If you're someone with an extensive credit history, complex financial needs, or a strong preference for in-person banking, B9 might not be the best fit. While they offer many valuable services, they are primarily a digital bank, meaning most interactions will be online or through their mobile app. If you require frequent visits to physical branches or prefer face-to-face interactions with bank tellers, a traditional bank might be a better option. Another important point to consider is the fees. While B9 generally aims to offer lower fees than traditional banks, it's crucial to understand their fee structure. Some services may have associated costs, such as out-of-network ATM withdrawals or certain types of transfers. Always review the fee schedule carefully before opening an account to avoid any surprises. Now, let's address a common misconception. Does B9 guarantee approval for everyone? The answer is no. While they aim to be more accessible, they still have certain compliance requirements and internal policies they must adhere to. This means that not everyone who applies will be approved. However, their focus on alternative forms of identification and a more holistic view of financial history makes them significantly more accessible than many traditional banks. So, to recap, B9 Bank is particularly well-suited for immigrants, individuals with limited or no credit history, and gig economy/freelance workers. They focus on providing accessible financial services and tools to help these groups establish and build their financial well-being. If you fall into one of these categories and are looking for a digital banking solution, B9 is definitely worth considering. However, if you have complex financial needs, require frequent in-person banking services, or have an extensive credit history, a traditional bank or another type of financial institution might be a better fit. It's always important to do your research and compare different options to find the best fit for your individual circumstances. Ultimately, the rise of digital banks like B9 is a positive development for financial inclusion. They are providing much-needed access to financial services for underserved populations and pushing the entire banking industry to become more innovative and customer-centric. With that said, thanks for watching, and until next time.